They poured wine on the black man in front of the whole ballroom, laughing like it was a party trick. What they didn't know was that he was the one holding their entire $800 million future in his hands. Glasses froze midair. A few phones came up, recording. And as the red liquid slid down his face, something in his eyes went from quiet to finished. The fallout started before their laughter even died. Now, quick camera to you. Watching this, welcome to our channel. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from. And hit subscribe because sometimes one moment of courage flips the whole story. And we're here to tell those moments. Now, let's go back to that ballroom. It was the kind of night rich people post about for months. Crystal chandeliers, velvet curtains, a string quartet playing something soft nobody really cared to hear. Perfume, steak, and expensive wine mixed in the air. On every giant screen, one logo kept looping. Halcyon Biotech Times, Riverstone Capital. $800M strategic partnership. The staff whispered about it in the hallway. The guests bragged like they'd already spent the money. In the middle of it all walked Malik Stone. Navy suit, simple tie, close-cut fade, clean watch. The kind of look people miss when they're searching for a billionaire in a louder suit at the door. Security had already stopped him. "Sir?" Catering staff enter around the back. The guard said, blocking him. "I'm not with catering," Malik answered calmly, holding up a black invitation embossed with a platinum seal. The guard squinted, then moved aside, suddenly polite. "My apologies, sir." Inside, the same energy followed him. Two women in sequined dresses glanced over, then shifted their clutches to the other arm like he might brush against them. Man in a white tux cut in front of him at the bar. "Staff first, right?" The man joked to his friend, nodding at Malik's suit. Malik simply stepped back. "Go ahead," he said, ordering still water when the bartender finally noticed him. Across the room, a host tapped the mic. His voice boomed over the low chatter. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Halcyon Biotech Gala." Applause rose. On cue, Malik stayed near a column close enough to see, far enough to be invisible. "Tonight," the host beamed, "we celebrate a historic $800 million partnership that will reshape medicine, our city, maybe even the world." You could almost smell the greed thicken. Then she appeared, Sabrina Huxley, in an emerald dress that caught every drop of light, gliding onto the stage like the room belonged to her. Beside her, her husband Leonard, CEO of Halcyon, in a suit sharp enough to cut glass. Everyone watched them, everyone except the quiet man who actually controlled Riverstone's money. Whispers started before Malik even moved. Who invited him into VIP? Someone murmured, "Maybe he's with cleanup." Another snickered. Sabrina's gaze swept the room, hunting for any imperfection that might ruin her photos. Her eyes landed on Malik standing alone, wine glass still empty, suit too calm for her liking. Her smirk curled. She leaned toward Leonard. "Do you see that guy near the column? He's not supposed to be here." Leonard followed her stare, jaw tightening. "I'll handle it." He stepped down from the stage, smile fixed, walking straight toward Malik, like he was approaching a mistake. And that's where this story really begins. Because to understand why Malik didn't flinch, why he let the wine fall and walked out without a word, you have to know who he was before this night and what it cost him to stay silent. Malik watched Leonard Huxley coming toward him, that CEO's smile already loaded like a weapon. But before the wine, before the fake charm and the public humiliation, Malik Stone had learned something the hard way. Power is loud when it's insecure. Real power can afford to be quiet. Malik grew up on the South Side, in a two-bedroom apartment above a laundromat where the dryers never stopped rattling. His mother, Denise, wore hospital shoes and hope down to the threads. "You don't get to be average," she'd tell him, kneeling by the thrift store desk where he did homework. "Average don't survive where we live. You learn twice as much, work twice as hard, and never let them tell you who you are." His father, when he was around, fixed cars in a borrowed bay. He smelled like motor oil and rain. On good nights, he'd spread bills on the kitchen table and say, "Money's just a tool, son. But if you're not holding it, somebody's using it on you." Malik listened. He watched notices appear on neighbors' doors. watched good people lose homes over fine print no one had time to read. He watched his mother come home from the rich hospital wing, talking under her breath about donors who got their names on the walls and nurses who did the real work. He never forgot by 16. He was tutoring kids in algebra for $5 an hour and secretly reading investing books in the public library by 19. He was the quiet scholarship kid at a university where people locked their bikes when he walked past. One professor, white hair, soft voice, stopped him after class. "You see patterns other students don't," she said. "Don't waste that in somebody else's firm forever. Build something that answers to you." He remembered that too, years later, after a stint at a hedge fund where they paraded him as diversity and stole his ideas. Malik walked out and opened Riverstone Capital with 2 laptops and a rented office over a nail salon. He kept the same rules his parents gave him. Stay humble. Stay prepared. Let your work speak before you do. Riverstone grew quietly. While loud money chased trends, Malik backed underfunded labs, community clinics, tech kids from neighborhoods like his. He read every contract himself. He learned who cut corners, who cut people, and who never looked a janitor in the eye. That's how halcyon biotech first crossed his radar. On paper, they looked shiny miracle therapies, clean branding, inclusive values. Off paper, Malik heard whispers, unpaid trial subjects, clinics pressured to bury side effects, staff laid off the week after appreciation luncheons. So when Halcyon came hunting for a massive investor to push their new treatment global, Malik made a decision. He would step in, but on his terms. Riverstone became the mystery partner behind the $800 million deal, with one quiet clause buried deep in the paperwork. If Riverstone withdrew, the contract died instantly. No renegotiation, no second chances. Tonight was supposed to be his final test, not of their numbers, but of their character. So when Leonard Huxley marched toward him across that velvet-carpeted ballroom, eyes full of irritation at the staff in the wrong place, Malik didn't flinch. He just thought of his mother's tired hands, his father's words about who holds the tools, and he waited to see exactly how they would show him who they really were. The moment Malik stepped out of the ballroom, the string quartet was still playing. 5 minutes later, the music died mid-note. Inside, confusion spread faster than the wine had. Screens around the room flickered. The Halcyon Biotech logo, freezing before a red banner, slid across every display. Signing suspended. Partner has withdrawn. At first, guests thought it was some dramatic prelude, a stunt, a joke. Then the host rushed onto the stage, face to pale for theatrics. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing a brief delay in tonight's signing." Phones buzzed at every table. An executive in a silver tie jumped up, eyes glued to his screen. "What do you mean our accounts are locked?" He hissed into his phone. "By who?" Near the front, Vanessa Huxley scrolled, her smile draining. "Leonard," she whispered, grabbing her husband's wrist. Every investor notification just turned red. He yanked his arm free. "Stop panicking. It's a glitch." Across the room, a junior analyst stood, voice shaking. "Sir, it's not a glitch. Riverstone Capital just terminated the agreement. All channels. Effective immediately." The word terminated hung over the tables like smoke. Someone muttered, "You don't kill an $800 million deal during the party." Vanessa's gaze darted toward the doors Malik had walked through, the last drops of wine still drying on the carpet. "This started after he left," she whispered. "After who left?" Leonard snapped. "The guy from earlier. The one you—" She cut herself off, suddenly aware of how many cameras were still pointed their way. At the back of the room, a server pressed her phone into another waiter's hand. "Look," she whispered. The clip was already online. Leonard laughing, Vanessa giggling, the wine pouring down Malik's face as the crowd watched. Someone had captioned it, "When the CEO thinks the black man is a waiter, but he's actually the mystery investor." The video spread like fire through dry grass. Guests watched their own expressions reflected back at them: smirks, indifference, a few uncomfortable glances no one had acted on. A board member stormed up to Leonard, his tie crooked, sweat shining on his forehead. "What did you do?" Leonard bristled. "Riverstone doesn't have the power to shut us down." "I do." The board member's voice dropped to a deadly calm. "Riverstone doesn't just back the partner company. Leonard, they own it. And the man you humiliated. That was Malik Stone. Vanessa stared, lips parted. The investor. She breathed. The owner, the board member corrected. He controls the whole deal. Silence swallowed the ballroom. On every screen, the Halcyon logo faded out, replaced by a bland hotel default background. No music, no speech. Just the sound of people realizing, slowly and all at once, that the man they'd treated like a prop had just pulled the floor out from under them. And Malik, he was already outside, walking into the night, letting the fallout do what it was built to do. By sunrise, the wine had dried on Malik's suit, but the moment was soaking every screen in the city. Clips from the Gala bounced across social media Venice, laughing, Leonard smiling behind her, the glass tilting, dark wine bleeding down Malik's face while the crowd watched. Someone slowed the footage, zoomed in on Malik's expression calm, unreadably, and added a caption. They poured wine on the black guy, then found out he owned the deal. Comments stacked up by the thousands. Fired yet. Power in silence. Imagine losing $800 million over racism. In a quiet cafe on the east side, Malik sat in a corner booth, navy suit jacket draped over the seat beside him, fresh shirt under a simple sweater. His assistant Priya slid into the opposite side, tablet in hand. "It's everywhere," she said. "News outlets want statements. 3 different podcasts already invited you on." Malik stirred his coffee once. "Let the clip speak for itself," he replied. "No interviews." "Not yet." Atia hesitated. "You know Halcyon is spiraling. Stock dropped 32% at open. The board is in emergency session." He glanced out the window at the street, waking up kids with backpacks, buses hissing, a man in a reflective vest sweeping the sidewalk. "They built a culture where disrespect was free," Malik murmured. "Now they're seeing the invoice." Priya tapped the screen. "We've already had 5 competing firms ask if you want to move the entire $800 million package. They're ready to restructure everything around you." "Good," Malik said. "Find the one whose people look like the world we live in, not the room we just left. Pool their diversity stats, wage gaps, promotion patterns. Send me the truth, not the brochure." She smiled faintly. "You really gonna make them earn it, huh?" "I'm not in the business of saving companies that treat people like props," he replied. "I'm in the business of backing those who know better." Across town, Halcyon's glass tower pulsed with panic. Leonard paced the boardroom, tie loose, eyes red. "This is a misunderstanding," he insisted. "A PR nightmare. Yes, but we can spin it. We'll issue a statement. Say we're heartbroken. Say we're learning. Learning won't unfreeze our credit lines." A board member cut in. "Riverstone pulled every dollar. Vendors are demanding collateral. Our partners are walking." Vanessa sat rigid at the end of the table, phone in her hands, watching the same clip over and over. Each replay felt like another slap. "He didn't even flinch," she whispered. "Why didn't he say something?" "Because he didn't have to," another director said quietly. "People like that don't yell. They move money." Back at the cafe, Priya's phone vibrated. She checked the screen. Halcyon just requested a meeting. Urgent, humble, open to correction. Their words. Malik took a slow sip of coffee. "Schedule it," he said. "They want to talk. They can come to my office. No cameras. No excuses." He set the cup down, eyes steady. Tonight, they finally learn what it costs to treat a black man like he doesn't belong in the room he paid for. Leonard had never been to this side of town. The driver slows in, front of a brick building with simple glass doors. And no giant logo screaming its name, just a brass plaque, Rivers Equity Group. No security line, no red carpet, just quiet. Vanessa smooths her hair in the reflection. "This can't be it," she mutters. Leonard swallows. "It is." Inside, the lobby is warm wood and plants. People of every shade moving with the calm focus of folks who actually like being there. No one rushes to greet the Halcyon couple. No one fawns. The receptionist looks up. "You're here to see Mr. Rivers." Leonard clears his throat. "Yes, he's expecting us." She nods once. Conference B, end of the hall. No announcement. No escort. They walk themselves. Malik is already there. Jacket off, sleeves rolled, a tablet and neat stack of papers in front of him. Priya sits to his left. Another associate to his right. Through the window, the city stretches wide, sunlight cutting clean lines across the table. Leonard forces a smile. "Mr. Rivers, thank you for meeting with us." "We sit," Malik says. Gently, they do. For a moment, no one speaks. The only sound is the faint hum of traffic outside. Vanessa finally breaks. "We made a mistake," she blurts. "What happened at the gala wasn't a mistake," Malik says. "It was a habit that finally hit someone with leverage." Color rises in her cheeks. Leonard leans forward, palms open. "We're ready to apologize publicly. Diversity training, donations, whatever it takes. Just restore the deal. 800 million on both sides. That's thousands of jobs." Malik studies him, expression unreadable. "Tell me," he says softly, "how many of those jobs were going to people who look like me?" Leonard hesitates. "We hire the best talent available." "Right," Malik murmurs. "And somehow the best talent always ends up looking exactly like your guest list." Priya taps her tablet. "Your last 3 executive hires, all white, all from the same 2 schools. Your lowest paid department, janitorial, 90% people of color. Gender pay gap, 19%. Vanessa's eyes widen. "You dug into us." Malik gives a small shrug. "I don't invest in numbers. I invest in systems. Your system told me everything at that gala before a single glass was lifted." Leonard's voice tightens. "So this is personal." "Oh, it's absolutely personal," Malik replies. "My mother worked double shifts cleaning floors for companies like yours. My first scholarship got pulled when a donor decided kids from my neighborhood weren't a safe bet. I've built Riverstone so I'd never have to ask men like you for permission again." He lets that sit. "So," Leonard says slowly, "what do you want?" Malik leans back. "What I want," he says, "isn't something you can buy in a press release. But I'm going to give you one chance to hear it very clearly before I decide whether Halcyon deserves to exist at all." The room goes still as he slides a single, thin folder across the table. "Start by reading this," he says. "It's the price of staying in business." Leonard opened the folder like it might bite. Inside was only a few pages. No dense legal wall, no hidden paragraphs, just bullets. Clear, sharp. He read the first line aloud, voice thinning. "Immediate resignation of CEO Leonard Huxley and board chair Martin Cole. Effective within 14 days. Vanessa's head snapped up. "You can't be serious." "I'm extremely serious," Malik said calmly. "You built the culture. You poured the wine. You don't get to stay and supervise the apology." Leonard flipped to the next point. Creation of a $100 million community health and equity fund under independent control, focused on clinics and trials in underserved neighborhoods. Priya added, "Riverstone will appoint 2 of the 3 trustees. None can be current Halcyon executives." Vanessa stared. "That's not a fund. That's you taking our money and handing it to strangers." Malik's gaze hardened. "Those strangers are the people your brochures pretend to care about." Leonard kept reading. "Mandatory restructuring of your exec team within 12 months. Minimum 40% leadership from historically excluded groups. Public reporting. Third-party audits." He looked up, scoffing. "That's social engineering." "No," Malik replied. "That's making your leadership look more like the patients you profit from." Vanessa's voice rose. "You're asking us to blow up our company." "Hi, I'm giving you a chance not to watch it die," Malik said. "You've already blown it up. I'm just choosing who gets hurt most when it falls." Silence pressed in. Leonard turned to the last page. His eyes slowed on the final paragraph. "Riverstone Capital," he read, "reserves the right to decline reinstatement of the $800 million deal, even if all conditions are met. These terms are the minimum cost of repair, not a guarantee of partnership." His jaw clenched. "So even if we do all this, you might still walk." Malik nodded once. "I don't owe you a future. I owe your workers, your patients, and the people watching that clip proof that there are consequences." Vanessa's composure cracked. "We've lost everything," she whispered. "We're ruined." "For one stupid moment, no." Malik cut in. "You're ruined because that one stupid moment wasn't new. It was just finally recorded with the wrong target in frame." Leonard slammed the folder shut. "This is extortion. This is accountability," Malik said, voice steady. "You don't have to sign. You can keep your titles, your habits, your echo chamber. Just do it without my money and without the deal you thought you owned." He stood. "I'll give you 72 hours, he said. "After that, Riverstone moves the full package elsewhere. Some company that knows how to hand a black man a seat, not a wineglass." Priya rose with him, gathering her tablet. Vanessa's eyes glistened. "And if we agree?" she whispered. "Then maybe," Malik replied. "You'll spend the rest of your careers learning what humility feels like from the passenger seat." He walked to the door. "The days of humiliating people for sport and calling it culture," he added softly, "those are over. Whether Halcyon survives that truth is up to you." He left them in the quiet, the thin folder between them feeling heavier than any contract they'd ever signed. 72 hours passed like a countdown over two different worlds. In Halcyon's tower, panic settled into something uglier: fear of becoming irrelevant. In Malik's office, it was just another work week. On the second night, Priya walked into his glass-walled office, a mug of tea in her hand. "They sent it," she said. "Signed, every page. Leonard Martin." The board, Vanessa co-signed the resignation terms as spouse and PR counsel. Malik didn't smile. "Not yet." "And the fund?" he asked. "Full $100 million wired into escrow under the new trust," she replied. "Community Health and Equity Fund is real. We already have clinic proposals waiting." He nodded slowly, eyes on the city. "Good," he said. "We would have built it without them someday. Now they get the bill attached to their name." She hesitated. "There's more. Media found you. Somebody leaked that Riverstone was the unnamed partner behind Halcyon. Your inbox is on fire." Malik exhaled. "Let them talk," he said. "But we make our own statement. One time, clear." The next morning, a simple video went live on Riverstone's site and feeds. Gala. No stage, just Malik in a plain studio. NavySweater.com eyes. "My name is Malik Stone," he began. "Some of you know me as the man in a viral video who got wine poured on him at a gala. What most of you don't know is that I was also the investor behind the $800 million deal announced that night." He didn't drag them. He didn't gloat. He told the story simply. His mother's shifts, his father's warnings. His decision to build Riverstone so people like them would never be disposable again. He ended with one line: "If you build a culture where disrespect is cheap, eventually someone will send you the invoice." I just happened to be the one holding the pen. The clip hit harder than the Gala video. Comments flooded in. "Silent revenge, greater than loud ego. This is how you use power. From now on, I'm watching who gets treated like staff." Back at Halcyon, Leonard watched the footage from a half-packed office. "You think they'll forgive us if we follow through?" he asked quietly. Vanessa stared at the blank wall where awards once hung. "I don't think this is about them forgiving us anymore," she said. "It's about whether we can live with who we've been." News rolled in fast. Halcyon confirmed leadership changes. The equity fund, the audits. Some called it a victory. Others called it survival. Malik didn't correct either side. He was busy at a community clinic ribbon cutting 3 months later, watching a doctor hug a grandmother who finally had access to a trial they'd been denied for years. "That's where the real deal is," he murmured. Priya glanced over. "You ever regret walking away from $800 million? He smiled, small but real. "I didn't walk away from it," he said. "I just moved it to people who know how to treat a black man in a suit like he might own the room." He stepped forward to cut the ribbon, the crowd cheering not for the money, but for the doors it had finally opened. The opening day crowd eventually faded, leaving the clinic bathed in a soft afternoon calm. Malik stepped outside, letting the door swing shut behind him. The sun sat low, painting the sidewalk gold. Kids on bikes raced past. A woman carrying grocery bags paused just long enough to nod her thanks. He nodded back. That single gesture meant more than any boardroom applause ever had. Priya joined him on the steps. "You know," she said, "most investors care about headlines. You care about handshakes." Malik chuckled. "Handshakes built this community long before venture capital did." She smiled. "You think Halcyon will survive the reconstruction?" "They'll survive," he said, "but they won't forget." He thought about Leonard, humbled, quieter, learning that leadership wasn't a crown you wore, but a mirror you held up. He thought about Vanessa, working behind the scenes on the new equity initiatives. No longer the woman who smirked at a stranger she misjudged. Some people changed out of fear, others out of finally seeing themselves clearly. Either way, the world would walk differently now. His phone buzzed. A message from his mother. "Proud of you, baby. Your father would be too." Malik inhaled, steady and deep. His parents' sacrifices echoed in every brick of the building behind him. This wasn't revenge. It wasn't punishment. It was restoration of dignity, of respect, of the kind of justice that didn't need noise to be loud. A local reporter approached timidly. "Mr. Stone, may I ask one last question?" He nodded. "Why didn't you take the deal back? You could have rebuilt Halcyon your way." Malik looked back at the clinic, where a nurse held the door open for an elderly man with a walker. "I didn't need to rebuild Halcyon," he said softly. "I needed to rebuild places like this." The reporter lowered her mic, visibly moved. As she walked off, Priya nudged him lightly. "Ready for the next project?" He grinned. "Already started. There are a lot more doors we're going to open." They walked down the steps together, the city warm around them, the future unfolding with purpose, not with noise, not with anger, but with the quiet certainty of a man who finally understood the strength of what he carried. Malik glanced at the camera crew packing up nearby. "Make sure they get this angle," he said, half joking. Not the man who walked away from a deal, but the man who walked toward something bigger. Priya laughed. Narrator style, poetic. "You practiced that." He winked. "Life practiced it for me." They stepped forward into the street's glow Gala lights. No crystal chandeliers, just the real world, finally catching up to the truth. And now, if this story moved you even a little, don't forget to hit that follow, subscribe, and drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from. Your support turns moments like these into movements.